Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Isaiah, and in this video we're going to talk about how we make consistent income every single week through selling cash secured puts, covered calls, collecting dividends, and doing credit spreads. And if that interests you, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and let's jump right in. So this week we collected just over $600 between options and dividends, and I want to show you my trade history here. So let's take a first look at our options. So my favorite way to generate income, and in my opinion is the best way to, I've grown this account from, $0 up to $75,000. Last year I started the YouTube channel. It was at $45,000, and as you can see right now it's at $75,000. Next year we're going to be over $100,000. So anyway, let's get back to our history. Always remember, guys, my trades are my opinions. They should never be taken as financial advice. I'm just documenting my journey for, educational purposes and things like that. So let's take a look. So we sold a cash secured put on SERV. And when you sell a cash secured put, you're agreeing to buy a stock for a predetermined price. When you do this, you get paid a nice credit. And as you can see here, we didn't just open this position, we rolled it. You can continue to add more time to your contract by moving your expiration date out further and further. And every time you do this, you get paid another credit. So when you see a roll, that's on top of all the money we've already collected. So let's take a look here. Serve, we sold a $22 put. We collected 30 from PLUG. Teladoc, that's been a pretty good payer for us this year. Hertz, $35. And we started the week with a $60 covered call. When you sell a covered call, that means you're agreeing to sell a stock for a predetermined price. So buy a stock that you like, buy 100 shares of it, agree to sell it for more than you bought it for, and you get paid to do so. And selling options, it's as simple as it sounds. You're agreeing to buy something, you're agreeing to sell something, and you get paid to do it. And that's why I love selling options. I just want to give you a quick example of one here. Let's take a look at just Snapchat. I was just showing this to the Premium Generals earlier in a video, and I'll talk about them in a minute. But let's look at the trade history here for Snapchat. So it's a $7.80 stock, and I sold a cash secured put on it on June 24th. Sold a $7 put. That means I'm agreeing to buy it for $7. And as you can see, I just continued to roll this position. I haven't added to it. I haven't agreed to anything else other than to buy it for a predetermined price. And as you can see, I opened it on June 24th, and I've rolled it the whole way through. The last time I rolled it was November, and I think the one for November expires, 1/2, so it expires next week. I'm going to roll it again. I want to be able to roll positions for years. That's always my goal. Continue to roll positions. Don't need to add new ones, just keep rolling them, collecting consistent income. So option selling is only one part of the way we generate income. We take the income from options and we invest it into funds that pay us dividends or distributions. So let's take a look at what we're going to receive, or what we have received this week. So we have two ultra yielders, COYY and TSYY. And they paid us, I scrolled too far down, apologies. Here we go. They paid us on Tuesday. They pay every Tuesday. And they paid us just south of $300. Great way to start the week. We also have ULTY, YBIT, CONY, and MSTY. With the holiday, Christmas, the distributions, dividends got pushed back a day, so they're not showing up in my trade history, but they'll show up on Monday. And so between ULTY, which you see here, and YBIT, CONY, MSTY, it'll add about another $100, which on top of what we've already collected this week. And then next week, we have some of our monthly payers, funds that I want to build the portfolio around. I take income from high yielders and I invest them into these more stable monthly paying funds that still offer a pretty decent yield. So let's talk about them here. But before I do that, I want to give a quick shout out to the Premium Generals. It's a wonderful group of people, and in this group, it's an exclusive group. I post content such as educational videos on how to sell cash secured puts, how to sell covered calls, how to do credit spreads, debit spreads, I did a video today on how I identify my next plays, things like that, and I post in here between 4 and 6 times every single week. It's $10 to join, and I got 90 videos in there by now, so tons of stuff, some education videos, private portfolio updates, every trade I make when I make it, as well as the best part, you get to be featured in every single video. So if you want to see your face, your name, go ahead and join us. It's $10. We'd love to have you. And with that being said, let's get back into that video. Okay, we're back in the video. You should join the Premium Generals. We'd love to have you. But nonetheless, let's talk about our monthly paying dividends. So, like I said, I believe that these dividend-paying funds offer a nice combination of stability as well as a decent yield. I do not call them growth funds because, in my opinion, I don't really believe anything that pays a decent dividend can be considered a growth fund, just in my personal opinion. Growth funds need to pay very little yield, if any at all. But they're stable, and that's what I look for. So PDI, I'm going to get $132 next week. The two cornerstones between them, we're going to get like $350. ORC, it's a real estate. I'm trying to get a little bit more REIT involvement in this fund. I want to get that to 1,000 shares. QYLD, my favorite covered call ETF, they're paying. And I want to talk more in depth on my purchases with them. So each of those funds are going to pay a decent distribution for us next week. But it'll honestly pale in comparison to how much they're going to pay me next month at this time. Because I'm making continuous daily purchases. Take a look at PDI here. So I'm going to get $132 next week because I had 598 shares at the time of ex-div. I have 735 shares now. That means in a span of a couple weeks, I've picked up 140 shares or so. That's pretty impressive. Consistent buying, taking income from option selling, high yields, as well as a little bit of margin, taking advantage of funds that are available to me. And I'm doing the same thing with my cornerstone funds. PDI, again, I am trying to get 1,000 shares by the end of March. Hopefully I can get there. The cornerstone funds, CRF and CLM, I'm making daily purchases. I have 1,630 of CRF, 1,600 of CLM. Like I said, I want 3,000 of each of those by the end of 2027. I don't know if I'll stick with daily purchases with these ones for now because I want to get PDI to 1,000 first. Once I get those 1,000 shares there, it'll be a lot easier to invest into the cornerstone funds more consistently. And then T-SPY and QYLD, we'll talk about QYLD first. I want to get 500 shares of this by the end of 2027, but my first goal is 100 shares. Once I get 100 shares here, I'll probably start looking for other covered call ETFs, opening up my horizon. QYLD has been something that I've invested in for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, however long it's been, in other portfolios. So I have an admission to it. And then ORC, this is my REIT. I'm trying to get 1,000 shares of this, probably again by end of 2027. They announced ex-div on December 1st. And so since then, I have picked up, because I'm up to 350, I had 200. I've picked up 150 shares since then. I won't be buying this one as much, really only when it comes close to my average of 721. I'll add a few shares here and there. And then finally, the new one, the Premium Generals, turned me out of this fund. I can't really say anything good or bad about it right now. I've only had it for a short amount of time. I only have 53 shares. I don't own it in any other portfolios. So like everyone else, I'm giving it a try, see how it works in this account. Maybe it works out. I get my 100 shares, and then I continue to add to it. I don't have a goal amount in terms of shares for this fund yet because, like I said, I haven't actually physically received a distribution. And to be honest, they haven't really paid long enough for me to truly get a good understanding. Anything that's paid under a couple of years, I really am hesitant because I've seen distribution funds pay amazing distributions or dividends, and then every year it just decreases. And I worry that this is the case for T-SPY. It might not be, but I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm adding to the portfolio. And when I had a $40,000 account, my sole goal was to generate income from option selling. Now that the account's up to 75, we're still small. We're still under where we need to be, but I have enough now that I can use margin and purchase some of these better distribution paying funds, and then I can allocate that cash from selling options and put it into the distribution paying funds, because end of the week, end of the day, my first goal in any portfolio is always try to get the monthly dividend payers to cover all your bills. That's always been my goal for any portfolio I start, any portfolio I have. I want the monthly payers to cover my bills. And in order to get to that point, you have to generate income. And I think, like I said, the best way to do it is selling options, collect that premium, then get some ultra yielders in there, but be slow with those. Though they're going to pay you good income, that share price will decrease. It is not going to stay flat. It's not going to go up. It will come down. So it's about maximizing that position. And this isn't something I do, but I always want to put it out there for traders as a possibility. If you want to hedge, you can buy puts. When you buy a put, you're banking on the stock to go down. So buy a long-term put on a position that's paying you dividends as a little bit of protection. I don't really do that. When I open a position, I have conviction in it, so I don't really hedge, because when I sell options especially, I'm agreeing to buy something I want to buy, so I'm not going to hedge it. And if I purchased it to collect dividends, I believe in it. And I've been burned before. ULTY, I got lucky that I collected basically $100 from owning it for about 8 months, but I had about $20,000 in this account, which ratio-wise, that's way too much, but I had kept buying in, lowering my cost average, putting all the income I was collecting into it. And like I said, I was lucky to walk away with somewhat of a profit, but I missed out on a ton of other income. So I grew this account in about $30,000 in a year, and that's with ULTY hoarding most of the cash. If I would have been more efficient trading and more disciplined, I would have used that money to sell options and buy better dividend-paying funds. But we all fall to the allure of high yields. It happens. And every couple years, I see new high yielders, and I think social media enhanced a lot of the ones today. But nonetheless, I don't want to talk anybody out of the trade or into the trade, just basing my experience in these ultra yielders. But with that being said, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on T-SPY, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on XPay, which is one of the next ones coming to my account, as well as TDOC. So, not TDOC, TDAC. Teladoc is the put-selling gold mine that I have, but TDAC. So I'd love to hear your comments, and I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.